There's a person on the phone right now who wants. We should probably ask him what his first sports video game was.
I don't even know that he plays video games.
Oh,
I don't know that he sits still that long, man. This guy stays moving. Bernard Hollywood Williams, our good friend from Baltimore. How you doing, good sir?
I'm fantastic, y'all. How y'all doing?
Doing well. We might have to go back to your youth, but we're having a conversation about what was our first sports video game. Do you have a first sports video game?
Oh, snap. It was Tecmo Bowl on Nintendo.
Tecmo Bowl.
Bo Jackson.
Great one. Bo Jackson, yeah. Did you play with the Raiders?
Well, yeah. Well, I played with the Redskins because Walter Payton was like cheat mode.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you ever do, what was the thing called back in the day? Was it the Nintendo Power Pad where you had the Olympic events and you could actually you had to lay that little pad down on your carpet, on your floor. And and you had the 1 and 2 button that you had to put your left foot and your right foot on, and you would run in place. And you would actually run in races in the Olympics. This goes all the way back to like regular Nintendo. Do you guys remember this at all? You guys might be too young for this. But
Yeah. Well, see, they had that, but before that, it was just a remote control where you had to move your finger real fast. But
I
would
could never
always
figure
use
that
like a chapstick or something to kind of move the buttons really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's when Nintendo had upgraded when you were able to be physical and kind of like step on the pads and run on the pads.
You get a workout. You do the race, and even that 100 meters, you'd be churning your feet. I'd be out of breath when I get done with that. And then there was always the way you could cheat during the long jump is you do the little thing where you run up to the line, you get to the line, and you jump off the pad, and then you jump back on it a second later to see how far you jumped.
Right, you had to jump really high up instead of far.
Yeah, you had to jump high up, but I would just jump off of it, and then I would jump back on and see if that worked.
See,
nice. I was sneaky. I'd been one of those guys cheating there in the Olympics. That'd just be me. Colin Kaepernick, there's going to be a 6-part docuseries releasing on Netflix. Anna DuVernay is the one who's going to be producing and directing this. She, in 2014, was nominated for a Golden Globe for producing Selma. In 2017, I believe it was, she was nominated for an Academy Award for producing the documentary called The 13th. She is now going to be producing a 6-part docuseries on the teenage experiences of Colin Kaepernick, what it was like for him as a high school athlete. It talks about him being born in Wisconsin, born to an African-American father, a white mother, was given up for adoption, was adopted into a white family, moved from Wisconsin, from Milwaukee, to California, where he grew up, and talked about his experiences being living in a blended family like he was, being an African-American who was adopted into a white family and goes to play in a predominantly white high school, and what some of the racial experiences that he had through his teenage years that ultimately led to him becoming an activist, and kind of giving some insights onto that. My first indication as I read this, I wanted to support it because the work of Ava DuVernay, I keep saying Anna, her name is Ava DuVernay. The work of Ava DuVernay on these other docuseries was very well done. And so that is the first thing that kind of sparked my interest in this, is who was involved in this project. The second question on my mind was, do we actually care about Colin Kaepernick's high school career? But that's when we find out about some of the formative things that ultimately led to his activism. And that is kind of interesting to me. Jake, let me get your insights on this.
I'm really interested in this because, Kaepernick's his upbringing is very, it's a combination of experiences, right? His father separated from his mom before he was born, then he was adopted into a white family. And so there's all these different kind of facets of Kaepernick's upbringing. But people act like he stumbled into the protest because he did, sit down on the bench, and when asked about it, his messaging wasn't exactly clear. I don't think he realized how big of a story the kneeling and the protest would turn into. But before that, he was wearing like Che Guevara shirts to press conferences and going on diatribes about Fidel Castro. And so I think Kaepernick is someone who has been very interested in politics outside of the mainstream for a long time. And then when he starts protesting, it blows up. I'm really interested to see the perspective of Colin Kaepernick's upbringing because we know about it, but we haven't seen it in detail. I think this is going to be fascinating.
Bernard, is this something you're going to watch?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, people always want to know what happened. That's why documentaries are fascinating. I'm thinking people watch documentaries more than they actually watch movies. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see his background, his upbringing, and hopefully it'll be tasteful for people and to see where he comes from his perspective.
This is perhaps my skepticism coming out, but while I'll watch this with an open heart, the thing that the question I'm hoping to answer in my mind is this is somebody who is he's of mixed race, he's half white, half African American, was raised in an adopted white family. How is it that he becomes the one to experience these moments of racism that he's experienced in his life to become that voice today? That was always the skeptical question that was in my mind. And hopefully that is a question that gets answered once and for all through this docuseries.
All right.
Bernard, always appreciate you so much for being a part of the show. We will be back tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. 100.3 Destin for Walton Beach, 97.1 in Pensacola. Tune in. It's the Ticket Sports Network.